How's it going, everybody? Sitting here watching a pretty boring World Series game. I believe the score 7-0 San Francisco Giants in the seventh inning. So I thought this would be a perfect time to upload a video, an upload of NBA 2014 to 2015 NBA season, and tip off. I believe first game of the season. I believe begins literally a week from now. I believe that's right, next Tuesday. The NBA season kicks off, and you know what's with football still going on a little bit. I'm excited to see NBA action as soon as possible. So, despite being a Celtics fan, and yeah, our team's gonna suck. Anyways, let's move on to each team. I'm not going to try to. I'm going to make this as short as possibly can, as myself. I'm going to make it as slow as possible as I can right now. I'm not going to go each division. I'm just going to go by conference, which teams did to me, who they added, and whether they make a difference or not, and where I could see them making the playoffs if or do not make the playoffs. Okay. All right. Kind of like I did with the NFL. Anyways, let's get on to the Eastern Conference, and where can we? What a great way to start, huh? The Cleveland Cavaliers, who last year seemed like potentially had, they could make the playoffs, but again, as usual, Kyrie Irving gets injured, Anderson Varejao gets injured, and Deion Waiters kind of struggled last year, to say the least. So, obviously, they made big acquisitions. The biggest one you have to say by far is LeBron going back home to Cleveland, taking his talents back home to Cleveland with the Cavaliers. And then came basically everybody else. Sean Marion, Mike Miller, surprised Ray Allen hasn't gone there yet because he's like, well, that might take forever. And, of course, they made the big trade, trading away the first round pick, Andrew Wiggins, the first overall pick, really, Andrew Wiggins to Minnesota for Kevin Love. So a lot of people picking this team to go to the NBA Finals and win it all. I'm not going to be the one to say they're going to win it all because to me, even though on paper this is a good team, you look at Verja, you look at Waiters, you look at Love, you look at LeBron, you look at Kyrie Irving. That's a pretty good lineup to say the least, especially in the Eastern Conference, which is freaking weak as hell. With that being said, to me, they will go to the Eastern Conference, but I think they will get bounced in the NBA Finals. Now, I'm not saying, well, they could get bounced by any team in the NBA in the Eastern Western Conference. Excuse me. Wow, pardon me for that. Because they could get beaten by the Spurs, the possibility. Maybe later down the road, with the Thunder, possibility. You can also put in, I guess you could say, technically put the Clippers, Golden State. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could, in the Western Conference, that could make the NBA Finals. But to me personally, this is the only team that could have the possibility of representing the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals as the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think they will make it to the East. They will make it to the NBA Finals. They'll win the East easily, I think. But I think they will fall short in the NBA Finals. So moving on. We got the Toronto Raptors who re-signed Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry, yeah. And they surprised a lot of people, including myself, for how good they were. They looked very well with Jonas Valencias, DeMar DeRozan, of course. Just the same thing that traded Rudy Gay halfway across the season. Everyone was like, "What? Why did you trade Rudy Gay for, man?" But this team looks fairly well. Do they have a chance to win the Atlantic Division? I still think they do have a chance to win the Atlantic Division, but again, Atlantic Division is quite pathetic, and I'll get to that a little later on with my team being in it. So yeah, I think Toronto, has the potential obviously to make it back to the playoffs because they just have a good young squad there in Canada. Oh, Canada, yeah. Then we go to the Brooklyn Nets, who lost Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd said, "Peace, I'm out of here," and he went to coach Milwaukee. Now you have Lionel Collins being the head coach, the former head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, who I felt like they were stupid last season for letting this guy go. He's a good coach. He's a especially good defensive-minded coach. And when I look at the Brooklyn Nets, it's like it's a messy situation with them because yes, you got a star in center in Brook Lopez. Obviously, he's very talented. Problem with him is staying healthy. Kevin Garnett is old. Old Pierce left. Joe Johnson is Joe Johnson. And Deron D. Williams is not what he used to be. He's not that guy that people said was a top 5, top 10 point guard in the NBA. Now it's like he's just a shell of his old self. So I don't know how well the Nets are going to do. So, but again, these are conference. It sucks. Okay, and then we go on to the Orlando Magic, who obviously the second year with Victor Oladipo. They got Aaron Gordon in the draft, Nikola Vucevic being that big stud big man center for them, and the Magic. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. To me, they're just not there yet. But I think they're a team within about a year or two they could make the playoffs and they could maybe do something. The reason why is because they got so much potential. I just mentioned Vucevic, I mentioned Oladipo, I mentioned Aaron Gordon, I mentioned they just have the it factor right now, the possibility. Now they still need to add some pieces. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, they're going to be a great team in the free. I'm not saying that at all. So please do not assume that. But they do have a potential to maybe become an 8th seed or maybe 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. Again, sucks down the road. But now, I'm going to say not right now. And then the Detroit Pistons, who me personally last year, I thought they were going to make the playoffs. I mean, look at Josh Smith, excuse me. You look at Brandon Jennings, look at Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond. I swear, I wish I had an Andre Drummond or a freaking Greg Monroe on my team. I swear, two big man towers like that on my squad. I'm saying hell yeah. But what is up with Detroit? I mean, granted, they did get a new head coach in Stan Van Gundy. So maybe he can help them. I mean, obviously he did fairly well for the most part when he was the coach back in the day with the Orlando Magic. So it's a possibility Detroit could make the playoffs. Maybe they could sneak in there. So I mean, come on, there's gotta be one playoff spot open. The Pacers are on this year. So next we go to the Washington Wizards. John Wall. A lot of people were surprised with the Wizards last year. I said it from the beginning. The Wizards have talent. You look at John Wall. You look at Bradley Beal. You look at Marcin Gortat. And now they go and they had Paul Pierce in the lineup. Me, Paul Pierce, he's always going to be a Celtic in my heart. I think a lot of Celtics fans, he always will be a Celtic, no matter what jersey he wears. But, this is a team that obviously has the potential of making the playoffs once again. I think they will make the playoffs. So if you're a Wizard fan, I think you guys are good. We'll see what you do in with the playoffs because I still think you guys are a little bit young and mature for the playoffs. But hey, prove me wrong. Then we go on to the Chicago Bulls, and oh boy, if I was a Bulls fan, I would be rolling my eyes because it seems like with the Bulls, it's like they always make the playoffs. But then happens, particularly when I say I'm talking about Derrick Rose, the star of the team. He always gets injured every freaking year, and I don't know why this guy is more fragile than glass. But he just is. I mean, he obviously, when healthy, is one of the best players in the NBA today. But remains to be seen if he stays healthy. If he stays healthy for majority of the year, the Bulls have a good shot. If he's injured for a great amount of time like he's had the last several years, it's just going to be another year. I mean, another year when you have Kirk Heinrich. Actually, I think they have Aaron Brooks. I think Aaron Brooks. They have Aaron Brooks as your starting point guard. So if you're doing fantasy basketball, you might want to later on pick up Aaron Brooks because freaking he's going to get playing time and D Rose and be injured. But they did add, of course, Jimmy Butler. They got McDermott in the draft. They traded for him. I think he's going to be a good potential guy for them. Paul Gasol, obviously, they got rid of Carlos Boozer. And I can't forget about Joakim Noah, the best defensive player in the NBA last season. So again, the Bulls have a potential. You have a good coach. You have a good, starting lineup and whatnot. But it all goes down to Derrick Rose and staying healthy. Then we move on to the Atlanta Hawks, who surprisingly almost beat the Pacers in the first round of the playoffs last year. What was that? They barely snuck in there. They were under 500 team, I believe. I think they were like several games under 500, and that's how bad the Eastern Conference was, guys. If you're like 5 games under 500, you can make the playoffs. But with that being said, obviously another year with Teague, you got Millsap and company. They did let Louis Williams go. Excuse me. But the Hawks, it's like The Knicks have got a shot at being at 500, but I don't see anything else from them. So it's just like, yeah, I just need to see more from the Hawks before I say, oh yeah, you know. So, and then move on to the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, yeah, you got Brandon Knight, Jabari Parker should be a good asset on the future, but yeah, Larry Sanders is a good defensive rebounding center. You guys got that going for you. Everybody else is just like, ooh, like I'll give you credit, guys. I'll give you credit, Milwaukee. When I see your last names on half your team, I'm astonished because I can't even pronounce them. That's how crazy their last names are. So I'll give you that, Milwaukee. All right. So then we move on to the Charlotte Hornets. Right, no longer the Bobcats. They're now the Charlotte Hornets once again. And you know, the Hornets, obviously, they added Lane Stevenson this past offseason. You also got Kemba Walker. Another Gabe Kilker, that's the ugliest shot I've ever seen in my life. Of course, you got Al Jefferson. So, you know, this team does have the potential of making the playoffs once again. I think they could be maybe possibly a dark horse, quite frankly. They could be a dark horse in the Eastern Conference. You know, don't sleep on the Hornets yet, because I think with the new system, well, not new system, new, look to them, the new jerseys, new, basically everything, new scorer and Lance Stevenson. Joe Henderson can put up, 20 a night when he feels like it. So, Charlotte could be good. And you got the Miami Heat, and of course, the big story, they lost LeBron. LeBron left South Beach, and now they replaced LeBron with Luol Dangerous. That's right, Luol Dame. And I think a lot of Heat fans are throwing in the towel thinking this team's going to suck. To me, they're not going to suck. I mean, if this was in the Western Conference, they could suck, but it's the Eastern. They're going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. Eric Spoelstra, their head coach, it looks like a goddamn cockroach, alright? I've said this for years. The man looks like a cockroach. I'm sorry. But, when you still, I think this is Chris Bosh's time to shine for the first time in a few years since coming to Miami. He has a shot to shine. Dwayne Wade, I don't know how much of Dwayne Wade there is left, but I still think you can still get something out of him. Well, Dane could be a good asset, a role player from them. So I'm not saying that the Miami Heat are done for good, or at least done for this season. I think they will make the playoffs, but I'm tired of these Heat fans saying, "Oh, we're gonna suck this year." Really? I didn't know Chris Bosh was a horrible player. Moving on. Okay, so now we go to the New York Knicks, and obviously the Knicks missed the playoffs last year, and now you have Derek Fisher as your head coach. Oh, crazy. Well, at least they kept Carmelo Anthony, Marshmallow Anthony. So you kept Carmelo Anthony, obviously you have J.R. Smith, you have Iman Shumpert, you have freaking Hardaway Jr., and, so I know last year the Knicks missed the playoffs, which kind of surprised everybody, but to me personally, I think they will make the playoffs this year. I think last year was just kind of like a wake-up call for them that saying, hey, Eastern Conference sucks. Apparently so do you guys, because you guys missed the playoffs in the last week of the season. So I think the Knicks will come back to earth this season, and they will, make the playoffs. You got the Indiana Pacers, obviously losing Lance Stevenson, Roy Hibbert. It's just, David West is getting older. Paul George is out for the season. And this is when I say the Pacers are done. All right, they're done. All right, I'm sorry, Pacers fans. You guys looked good being the #1 seed last year, but you know what? When you win the playoffs, you look kind of pathetic. Almost losing to the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs in the series. Are you freaking serious? Now you let Lance Stevenson go. Paul George is out for the season. You guys basically did nothing this offseason. Please do not tell me Ronnie Stuckey is going to save your season, because that is just pathetic. But the Pacers are going to be done. So then we move on to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers, I don't know what's up with them. I mean, who the hell is playing center and I know Embiid's injured, so they're going to put Noel in there and put Michael Carter-Williams, and I'm saying that's fine. But I'm seeing who the guys playing at shooting guard, small forward, and power forward. I'm sitting there going, who the hell are you? Because I have no idea who is on this roster. That's how bad the Sixers are. I don't even recognize this roster other than Michael Carter-Williams, who deservedly so was the Rookie of the Year last year. And, of course, Embiid should come back sometime this year, and I guess him and Nolan's Noel, but they're going to both be playing the center and power forward, even though they're both centers. So one was playing power forward. And I know everyone's saying, well, what about the Eastern Conference? Your favorite team, the Boston Celtics. I'm about to get to them right now. The Celtics are going to be a bad team. All right, they're not. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year, but they're still going to be a bad team. You know, Rajon Rondo, we've been trying to trade the son of a bitch for years. Marcus Smart, you know, obviously would be a good replacement. Rondo's injured because he broke his hand in the shower. I don't know how the hell do you break your hand in the shower? Like literally, unless you slip on soap or like you smash your hand on purpose by punching a wall. I don't know how you break your hand in the shower. Um, and we got Evan Turner. Yeah. You know, we have Zeller as our starting center. I don't know why it gets killed. Olenek was not playing that bad, but good at the end of the season. Jerry Sullinger, he always seems like he gets banged up. So Avery Bradley is just a defensive guy. I mean, people are saying, oh, he has some offensive game to him. Yeah, some, not amazing. I mean, he's a bit better offensively than Dabo Cephalosha. That's the closest comparison I can have to Avery Bradley and Dabo Cephalosha, really. So. Celtics are not going to be good. All right, we're not going to be good. I mean, I think I'm not going to say we let's tank again. I don't think we're going to tank as bad or say tank as good, being the top 6 picks. But I think we'll still get the top 10 pick in the NBA draft. So yeah, real quick now the Western Conference. I know this video is gone a little too long, so I'm going to try to wrap this up as fast as possible. All right, Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns are an interesting team. You know, last several years they've missed the playoffs. This is the year I think they will finally make the playoffs. When we have Isaiah Thomas, we have Goran Dragic, we have Eric Bledsoe, when you have Plumlee, when you have Joe Green, you have so much talent right then and there that will win you games, even in the tough Western Conference. Because some of these teams that made the playoffs last year, I think got a bit weakened in the offseason. So I think they will capitalize and probably knock a team that was in the playoffs last year out, and they will sneak their way in. Probably an 8th seed, maybe a 7th seed, maybe. That's high as they can go. I'm not going to go any higher than that, but we'll see what happens with Phoenix. Then you got the Utah Jazz. They're going to be the worst team in the NBA. Actually, no, think of it. They'll be the second worst team in the NBA. The Sixers will be the worst team in the NBA. The Jazz will be the second because they are the youngest team in the NBA. Yes, Gordon Hayward's a good role player, but he's not a star. He's not the main attraction. Derek Favors, I think he may have overpaid the guy. Ernest Cantor's a decent center. Alex Burks, Trey Burke, okay, but then why do you have Dante Exum as your sixth man? Why did you draft him if you already have a chunk full of guards already? What are you, the Phoenix Suns? We already have Goran Dragic. We already have freaking, Eric Bledsoe. Let's bring Isaiah Thomas in. Like, but the Jazz are going to be the second worst team in the NBA. Sorry, Jazz fans. Okay, now we got the New Orleans Pelicans, who I don't think really did all that much in the offseason. So I think they're going to be a team that you look on paper, you think, okay, this team could be good, but you got to remember they are in the Western Conference, so I think they will make the playoffs. Being at the Houston Rockets, remember when the Rockets almost got Chris Bosh and that really backfired on them? Yeah. So obviously they got rid of Omar Sik, or Asik, some people may say. Of course, they got Dwight Howard. Of course, they got rid of Jimmy Lin. So one thing is on to Houston. And then they got, obviously, of course, James Harden. So I'm looking at this Rockets team. The Rockets, I think, will make the playoffs, but at highest, I think they will be a 7th or 8th seed at the bottom because, I'm just not feeling with the Rockets. I know they got Trevor Ariza back in Houston, yay, but I'm just not feeling it with Houston. I don't know why. I'm just not. Then we go to Golden State Warriors, and obviously they got Steve Kerr as their head coach. You can't do that. You just can't do that. But anyways, of course they got probably the best shooting point guard in the NBA, and Stephen Curry. You got Klay Thompson. You got Barnes. You got David. They got pretty much everybody that they had last season, basically for the most part. So I think they'll do well. They'll make the playoffs. Then they got the Minnesota Timberwolves, who, if you play NBA 2K15, my GM, everybody and the mothers is playing the freaking Timberwolves because they want to be Andrew Wiggins. And I think Andrew Wiggins will have a good rookie year in Minnesota. Basically his team. Ricky Rubio, I think this will be his last year in the Timberwolves. And it's too bad too, because I'm looking at this paper. If the Timberwolves win the Eastern Conference, I think they have a very good shot at making the playoffs. Because you look at Thaddeus Young, Ricky Rubio, Andrew Wiggins, um, and Nikola Pekovic. That's not a bad lineup right there. I mean, and Kevin Martin. That's not that bad of a lineup. But they're in the Western Conference, so they're kind of screwed. So yeah, that's the Timberwolves. Then you go to the Portland Trail Blazers. Obviously, they seem like they were, for the most part, a Cinderella team last year. Obviously, with Damian Lillard and Marcus Aldridge, and I think they will make the playoffs as well as just like last year. Dallas Mavericks. Mm, you got Chandler Parsons for so I think Dallas will make the playoffs once again as well. I think they do have a good squad. They do have a good team. So yeah, Dallas, even though Dirk Nowitzki is getting old as hell. Speaking of old as hell, the San Antonio Spurs, the defending NBA champions, with Tony Parker, Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Thiago Splitter, Kawhi Leonard, everyone had a boner for last year in the playoffs, and Danny Green. So the San Antonio Spurs, you know the Spurs, they make like one or two moves in the off season, and that's it. They keep the core, and it works. Greg Popovich is one of the best head coaches in NBA history. Not the best, one of the best NBA head coaches in NBA history. So, they're going to make the playoffs, and they have to be a favorite from making the Western Conference Finals. Actually, not just Western Conference Finals, but maybe representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. Then we go to the LA Lakers. They're gonna suck. Kobe's getting older. Swaggy P, freaking Nick Young. I like Julius Randle. I think he'll be a good future for them. But Carlos Boozer, Jeremy Lin, Steve Nash is still around. Too cringe. Then we move on to the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets are an interesting team because, again, on paper they look good. They look good for a team. But obviously, with injuries and whatnot, it prevented them from making the playoffs last year. And I think that'll change. I think they will make the playoffs this season. Sacramento Kings, oh god. I think a team with Rudy Gay and DeMarcus Cousins would be a lot better. But, obviously, it needs to be more than just two players on the team to roll well. And it's too bad, too, because the Sacramento Kings have a good fan base. But, yeah, they just don't know how to do it. I don't know. Memphis Grizzlies, on the other hand, the Grizzlies, they could sneak their way into the playoffs. I know last year they did, even though to me they weren't as good as they were the year prior, but they still made the playoffs. This year could be the same scenario. Oklahoma City, we all know Durant's going to be out for some time with a broken foot. Just recently had surgery on it. So you got to worry about the Oklahoma City, how they're going to start the season with just Russell Westbrook and, of course, Ibaka, really the main players for that team, while Kevin Durant is gone. So, I think they will start off a little bit rough, obviously missing without KD in the lineup, but when he comes back, they'll come back to earth, and they'll probably sneak the win in the playoffs as usual. They'll go to the playoffs. Last but not least, the Los Angeles Clippers. Um, I don't know what's up with the Clippers. I mean, they do so well in the regular season, but, best I think the best comparison I can for NFL fans who are also NBA fans, they're like the Cincinnati Bengals of the last several years. They do well in the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs, they just don't do squat. I don't know why. You have Chris Paul, a great point guard. You have all he does is dunk and rebound, and Mr. Uh, Blake Griffin. Oh, you got DeAndre Jordan, who just loves to dunk and block like there's no tomorrow. I mean, you have Crawford, you have J.J. Redick, Mr. Threes coming off your bench. Well, actually, starting lineup it could be because Crawford's probably going to be 6 man. But I don't understand why this team struggles in the playoffs. I really don't. It just mind boggles me. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this preview. I apologize for being long, but when you have so many teams in the NBA, you got to get it as fast as possible. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's it for me.